All right, everyone, shall we start today's lesson?
Yes, sir.
Sir. Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right.
sir. You can start, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
we're just going to take a look at chapter 2 today. So we're going to start animating from chapter 2. We will learn the basic tools and we will learn some fundamentals of this software in chapter 1. Now let's use those fundamentals to create some simple animations in chapter 2. We've already seen a demo where we use this flipper clip software to basically create some simple animation. So now let me take you through all the steps that we do in Flash to create some simple animations. All We already know about onion skin, so we'll take a detailed look at onion skin today, and we learn about frame by frame animation now. So once we master frame by frame animation, we can basically go for something like tuned or automated animation. All right. So the first step, first principle we're going to learn is of the squash and stretch principle. So this is a principle that you have to apply when animating objects. So whenever you're animating objects, to bring in that realism, all right, to bring in that realism or to bring in that liveliness to the image, we have to follow certain principles. One such principle is the squash and stretch. So squash and stretch basically defines how rigid or how soft an object is when you animate it. So here we have a simple picture. So we have two pictures right here. On the left, we can see a picture of a bouncing ball, and then on the right, we can see the same picture, but here we can actually see the ball is actually deforming right here. In these steps, you can see the ball is the ball which is round basically turns into basically flattens when it hits the ground, and then it regains its shapes once it's away from the ground. So this sort of effect, this sort of squashing and stretching basically gives the observer the illusion of softness of the object. So that is why we use this principle. If we simply animate a round ball that is bouncing, it will give the image of something like a rigid ball. So the animation will not appear real. To bring in the realism, we just use this principle of squash and stretch, where we basically transform the ball to make it appear more real. So if you're going to animate something like a balloon or some other object, you may want to have more of this longevity. Let's say you're trying to bounce some sort of solid object like a cricket ball. So during that time, we don't have to use all of this squash and stretch. So you apply squash and stretch only for extremely flexible objects. For rigid objects, you can just
Sir,
leave
I
them.
can't hear you, sir.
I'm like, sir, like SpongeBob, sir.
What?
Like SpongeBob animation, we can
Yes.
do.
So you would have seen that yellow spongy balls. So if you bounce that spongy balls, you can basically see how that deforms. So you can just bring in the deformation using this technique of squash and stretch. You know,
Sir, I can't hear you, sir.
who's not able to hear me? Just click on that speaker symbol in your Google Meet. In the top right corner of Google Meet, you can see that speaker or Bluetooth symbol. Make sure you click it and select speaker.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's now audible, sir.
Okay. On to the next topic. So if you want to create such illusion of this rigidity, you can use the squash and stretch. Let's see how to actually do this in Flash now. We'll see. We already seen it, but since it's been a lot of time, we'll just take a look at it one more time. So let's see if I can bring it to full screen. Okay. So we are now in full screen. So this is the Flash window. Now I'm going to explain all the steps. If you have your books, you can just take a look at your books also. I'll be loosely following the same steps given in your book. So the book says the first step. All right, I think we're having some problems. So in your book, you can see the first step is basically to adjust the FPS. So can anyone tell me what do you mean by FPS?
Frames per second.
Frames per
Frames
second.
per
Very good.
second.
Frames per second is basically the speed at which you play your animation. So no
Well,
matter what kind of movie you're seeing, okay, no matter what device you're using, all of those devices have a certain frames per second limit. So if you take a look at your something like your TV, so your TV basically displays 30 pictures every second. Every single second, the TV basically oscillates between 30 frames. If you take a look at something like your computer monitor or even something like your phone, those oscillate at 60 frames per second. So it's called as the refresh rate. So it's something like 60 frames per second is the norm. So our eyes are accustomed to seeing moving objects at a certain speed. So we can set the speed of our animation right here in our document properties. To get the document properties, just click on the modify panel and select document. Once you click document, you can just take a look at this, all of these options. We've already seen this before. We've seen how to change background color, title, etc. Now let's see how we can actually change the frame rate. So by changing the frame rate, we can actually increase the speed of our movie. So the recommended frame rate for animations is something like 24 frames per second. Okay, so let me type this 4. There is a lot of lag, so we'll have to adjust.
Sir, your voice breaking, sir.
sir, when you put 240 per watt, sir, came.
So general animations are allowed only a certain frame rate. So the software basically will try to stitch all the images. So the software has a limitation. So this software can play anything from 1 frame per second all the way to 120 frames per second. So here this single box is what we call as a frame. So you can see that there is a highlight over this one. So this one is what we call as a frame. So in 1 second, this software is going to play 24 frames. Okay, so that is what the software is going to do. So it can play up to 120 frames in a single second. So that is the limit of the software. If we exceed that limit, it's going to show us a warning. Okay.
How many frames, sir? I can't understand.
So all our devices like our phones and our computers have a monitor, and each one of these monitors is capable of only playing animations or movies at 60 frames per second. Okay, if we go beyond that 60 frames per second, the monitor will not be able to play that animation. Okay, there is a certain speed at which the monitor works. We cannot exceed that speed. If we try to play a high speed video, it will still be converted as a low speed video. Only watch it on a computer. So right now we're just seeing how to change the frames per second. So let me see if I have some ready-made animations to show you.
Yes.
Okay, so here can everyone see a movie that is playing on? Okay, so I think the
Yes, sir.
movie will be playing somewhat extremely slowly. Is the movie playing
This one,
extremely slowly for you?
Sir, going very slowly.
That
Yes,
is
sir.
this one
because
we can, sir, we
Sir,
can,
okay, so
sir,
it is playing.
transformer.
Yes, it's play. Okay, so the first time the movie was playing extremely slowly. That is because the first time the frame rate was set to extremely low. Every other time the frame rate is set to extremely high. So this is the difference between frame rate. So if it is moving very slowly, the frame rate is low. If it is moving very smoothly, that means the frame rate is high. Okay, that is what we mean by frame rate. We can set our own frame rate by just adjusting the FPS option in the modified document panel. So
Sir,
yes,
sir, you have shown animation, sir. That
yes,
when we want to add something, that like we can add, sir,
you can
in
add
that
whatever you want. Whatever you can draw, you can animate also. Okay, that is just some teaching aids that we used in the last year. So I just showed you that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you can do whatever you want. It's up to your creativity. So let me try to demonstrate the squash and stretch using Flash once again. So the first step I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a ball and I'm going to make this into a symbol. So just observe, I just drew a ball, highlighted everything, then I just clicked on which button do I click on to make it into a symbol? Which menu?
Modify.
Modify. Well done. So I click on modify and then I select convert to symbol. One common error we make is if we don't select anything and if we click on modify, we will not get the option convert to symbol. So before we convert, we have to
It
select
will show in library panel, sir.
what?
Sir, which object will select for say convert as symbol? It will show in library panel, sir.
Yes, yes, it will show it only after we convert. So let me click on modify. Let me click on convert to symbol. So it's going to ask for a name. I just say ball and I'm going to leave it as type graphic. I say okay. Okay, now we have a ball in our frame. All right. Now let me start adding all our frames. So right now in let's say this is like a flip book and in our flip book we have only one page. If we want to add more pages, all we need to do is right click on the timeline, right click on one of the frames in the timeline and we just need to say insert keyframe or blank keyframe. So keyframe means it's an important frame. We can insert frame, keyframe or blank keyframe. If we say insert keyframe, the contents of the previous frame will be copied as it is. If we say blank keyframe, the contents will not be copied. That is a difference. So let me say insert keyframe. So once I say insert keyframe, the contents of the first page or frame are copied as it is to the next one. Okay. So now if I want to create the squash and stretch animation, I just have to enable one option and that is called our onion skin. So can anyone tell me where the onion skin is?
Below the timeline. Sir, below the timeline.
Okay.
Sir, below the timeline.
Just below the timeline. Below the timeline, we have all of these buttons and one of these buttons is the onion skin button.
Yes,
So
sir.
once they enable
Sir,
that, onion skin
sir,
will
in,
basically- yes.
sir, in clip also it is there, sir.
Yes, onion skin is a common animation tool. It is available in almost all animation softwares. Okay, it's just a useful tool. It is not exclusive to Flipperclip or Flash. It is available in everything. So once I enable onion skin, we can basically see a picture of an onion that appears on the timeline. Okay, is everyone able to see? Is everyone able to see?
Yes, sir.
So this
Yes,
basically
sir,
shows
small onions.
yes, this basically shows us
Model, sir.
yes a small circle on the timeline. This basically shows us how many frames are included in this onion skin. So let me move this ball slightly now. Once I move this ball slightly, you can basically see a ghost-like image of our first frame's ball. So this is what we mean by the onion skin. I'm sure everyone knows about this already. So let me try continuing the animation. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to go to the next frame, skip ahead to frame number 10. I right click, then I say keyframe, insert keyframe. So if I say insert keyframe, it's going to create a duplicate of whatever I have. So let me extend my onion skin right here. So now you can see the onion skin. So now let me drag the ball even further. Okay, now we can see 3 images of the ball. So these 3 images are from the first frame, the second frame, and the third frame. So let me keep going. Let me create one more frame by clicking on insert keyframe, and let me drag the ball.
Sir, for this we should do how much onion, sir?
We have to do a lot. We've set the frame rate as something like 24.
24.
So
24.
if we create so many frames, like if we create something like 20 frames, right now we are at 20 frames. So this movie will be 1 second long. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
we
So
got
only 1 second movie, sir.
Yes. We've set the speed to 24 frames per second. So if we create only 24 frames, the movie will be 1 second long. If we reduce
sir,
the frame rate, the movie will be longer. Yes.
Okay, sir.
sir, when we go to 25 frames, it will not allow, sir.
It will allow. So we can create even 1,000 frames. The
No,
speed at
sir,
which
we
all of the
should know
1,000.
24. No, 24, no, sir.
Yes.
Without adjusting the frame, we went to 25 minutes, it will allow, sir.
It will allow, but the movie will be somewhat incoherent. So there will be large gaps. We have to look at the gaps I'm giving here. You can see I'm starting at 1, then I'm going to 5. Then from 5 I go to 10. From 10 I go to 15. So I just leave standard gaps. If I leave standard gaps, the movie will be smooth and fluent. Okay. If I leave large incoherent gaps, the movie will be somewhat rough and jerky.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now let me go to frame number 30. Let me create. Yes.
Sir, we can do uncountable frames, sir.
Yes, you can. Okay, you can go for the limit of your hard disk. So the only limit is the limit of your hard disk. If you have a huge hard disk, you can create a huge movie. So every time we generate any sort of motion, we are basically
Sir, in
using up system resource.
cartoons, they will keep a bigger hard disk, no, sir, so that they make larger animation, no, sir.
Yes,
Sir.
cartoons will have huge servers, so they have a higher capacity. So you can see I'm playing the animation now. Since we are watching it on a remote view, the fluid may not be as the motion may not be as smooth, but this is actually a high quality movie. So we are right now use the technique of frame by frame animation to create this moving ball. If you want to incorporate any sort of smoothness or rigidness of the body, all we need to do is to squash this ball whenever it hits an object. So let me add that squashing effect. So I'm going to go to frame number 35.
Sir, you make
Okay.
a ground, sir. Ground.
Let me use this wall. Okay, let me use this wall to flatten it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm moving it slightly. So now the ball has just touched the wall. So once it hits the wall, I'm going to apply this squashing effect. So just observe, I'm going to say insert keyframe now. Once I say insert keyframe, I'm just going to squash the ball. To squash the ball, I just use the free transform tool and I just reduce the size of the ball. Okay, like this. I squash the ball, then I place it on the exact spot where it's supposed to be squashed. Okay, then I'm going to go to the next set of frames, something like frame number 45. I'm going to say right click, I say insert keyframe. Okay, now
Sir,
all I'm going to do is to extend the ball once again.
sir,
Yes,
sir, you are clicking at 45, 30 only, no, sir. Can we click at 21, 23?
yes, it is all up to you. You can click wherever you want.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you just need to give even gaps. If you give even gaps, it will be easier. So I'm actually remote controlling this computer, so it is somewhat difficult to what do you say? Somewhat difficult to operate with fewer frames. That's why I'm going for a higher gap. Okay, so now
Sir, are you in laptop, sir?
yes, I'm on a laptop. I'm not on my full computer.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so we've completed the animation now. So the ball is now going to travel in an arc. It's going to hit this wall on the right side, then it's going to just bounce away. Just observe. Did everyone observe the squash? The squash was
Yes,
there on
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's
sir.
nice, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so once you see
Yes,
the
sir.
ball squishing,
Sir.
you can understand its rigidity. Yes. Okay, now let's actually let me just get the file so I can just show you live on the computer. So to export this as a movie, so right now I can see this. This is basically played in Flash. So we cannot expect all the users of our video to use this Flash software. So if you want everyone else, even the common people, to look at this, we need to export this. So to export your animation in Flash, we need to click on File, then we say Export. In Flipperclip also, we'll be exporting it as a movie. Only
No, sir, it will came options that share, sir.
okay, you'll have to share as a movie. Either way, a video file will be created. So let me
Yes, sir. It will
also
be saved, sir.
Sir, first it will ask to create as a movie in Flipper Clip, sir. Then only it will ask to share, sir.
okay then. Okay.
Sir, in the
So,
starting, the opening itself, the Flipper will show the file, sir.
okay, but if you have to send it to other people, you need to make sure you're sending it as a movie. So Flipperclip probably does that without you knowing, but either way. So here you can see once I click on export, it is asking me about all of these settings. I'm not going to change anything. I just say okay. So what is actually happening now is this software is basically stitching all of these images together, and it is basically making a movie. So I
It's
think the
loading,
movie is
sir.
complete. It's rendering. It's called rendering. Stitching all of these images together is what we call as rendering. So those who create animations in movies call this process as rendering.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, sir.
Sir, it's shared, sir.
Okay, let's see if I can get the file. So 1 second. So
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
right, if my voice is
No,
breaking,
sir.
it is
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
It's clear only, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
Sir, it is
okay.
clear only, sir.
Sir, it's clear
now
and
it's
audible, sir. Only, sir.
Sir, after we saving the where it will be, sir, the file after we sharing.
Sir, sir, after we are
Sir?
saving, we don't want means we can delete it, sir.
You can delete it if you want.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Okay, let
Yes,
me.
sir.
I got the file. So
can you say, sir?
if you want to
Laptop.
delete, if you want to delete, you can just right click on it and you can
Wrong
select
press.
delete.
Okay,
Sir,
sir.
we can long press, sir.
Okay, 1 second. Let me delete one. Let me get the file.
Sir, it is there, sir. Export 12/11/2020 SWF.
Okay, there's a problem with this file.
Sir, in clip, where when we long press, it will show two options, sir.
Okay.
That
That
is
is
there, sir. We can share in that also, sir.
okay. You can do that. You can do all that in Flipper clip, but in Flash, we basically have to export. So let me find the file. It's E drive. Okay, let me just play the movie directly. The resolution will be low, but you'll have to adjust. No other way. Okay, sometimes you may be
Sir,
able
your screen
to.
is not visible, sir.
Okay,
It's
just
visible only, sir.
click on my
Sir,
name. Click on the name. Comp Lab
Sir,
presentation.
it is not visible, sir.
it is
Click
Visible
visible,
on the
sir.
only,
name
sir.
Comp Lab presentation. Okay,
Sir,
click
sir,
on the
there are
name
two
Comp
clips,
Lab
sir.
presentation. There'll be three names under Comp Lab. Click on the one that says Comp Lab presentation. So let me play this for a few seconds. You should be able to see this properly at least one time. So you can see the ball travels all the way from the left and it hits the wall. Then it smoothens. Okay, then it
Yes,
basically
sir.
washes.
Sir,
So this is the effect we are trying to achieve.
sir,
Yes.
sir, the ball hits the wall and it should return back, no, sir.
No, it can't return in the same path.
It
Okay.
should go down, no, sir.
Yes, it is going down slightly. I didn't animate. I didn't complete animating it. So you can
Yes,
basically
sir.
make the ball hit the wall. Then it can just roll in the opposite direction.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you can create that sort of an animation.
Sir,
So right now we're just trying a solid ball. But if you
sir,
draw some patterns on the ball, you'll have to roll the ball also. Let's say you've drawn a football pattern on the ball. So what you'll have to do is for each and every frame, you'll have to use the free transform tool to rotate the ball to bring in that realism. Since it's just a solid colored ball, we're not doing all that.
sir,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
sir. In this we can change the direction, sir.
You can change the direction. So if you want to change the
Sir,
direction, just keep adding more frames.
sir, the ball is
Okay, sir.
sir, the ball is only colored or there is any stroke, sir.
The ball is just colored blue. If you have patterns on the ball, the story is completely different. We'll have to add
Sir,
rotation
outside
also.
of the outside of the ball is covered with stroke, sir. We can make the stroke as thick, sir.
You
Using
can
property
you can do that.
by using property inspector panel, sir.
Yes, by using the property inspector panel, you can thicken the stroke line.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think this is what everyone is expecting.
Sir, sir, when we are doing this animation, we can change the color also, sir.
You can, but you'll have to change the color of each and every ball, or
Okay,
you'll have
sir.
to change the source right here.
Sir,
Okay,
when
so
you are
Yes, sir.
checking, it is some difficult.
Okay, sir.
what?
Sir, when we are changing the color and making animation, it's difficult, sir.
It is somewhat difficult. This is manual animation. Okay, this is what we call as frame by frame animation. Here the artist or the animator has to draw each and every frame. So this is extremely difficult, but it is actually extremely good work. This is a animation of good quality. So there is one more way in Flash where we can actually automate this entire process. That is called as tweened animation. So I think if everyone is completed, everyone understands the step-by-step animation, we can look at tweened animation. Shall we take a look at tweened animation next?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one second, let me just
Yes,
take a look
sir.
at the book. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Tweening is in the next lesson, sir.
Tweening is in the next lesson, but we can just have an introduction to tweening. Okay.
Yes, sir. This is
So we'll take a look at
Okay, sir.
tweening, and in the next class we'll see the next principle.
sir. When
All
you
right.
are teaching chapter 1, you teach about this also, sir, in the middle.
Yeah, we saw slightly. Okay, we'll be doing that most of the time. We'll just see some concepts. Whenever comfortable, we'll see new concepts. So right now we don't have enough time to take a look at that new principle. So let me just demonstrate what tweening is. So tweening is the complete opposite of frame by frame animation. In frame by frame animation, we've decided where the ball goes in each and every frame. We create a frame, move the ball slightly. We create another frame, move the ball slightly. This is what we call what is this? Frame by frame animation. Next, we have something called as a tweened animation. In tweened animation, what's going to happen is Flash is going to do all the drawing for us. What we are going to do is we're just going to set the first and last states of the ball. Okay, so let me explain what I mean. So in the first frame, okay, look at this frame by frame animation. In the first frame, ball is in the top left corner, and then in the middle of the frame, the ball is actually in the bottom right corner, top left corner to bottom right corner. So the ball has basically traveled from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen. So this is what we've actually accomplished in the frame by frame animation. In the tweened animation, what we're going to do is we're going to do the exact same thing, but what we will only draw the first and last frames. Flash will do everything else for
The
us.
flash itself will draw, sir.
Yes, Flash itself will draw. Just observe. So I'm just going to move the ball from the first frame position to the last frame position. So look at this. In the first frame, ball is in the left side, and in the last frame, ball is in the right side. That's all. If you take a look at all the frames that are in between, you can see there is nothing there. Okay. Now let's ask Flash to actually complete the animation for us. To do this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select the first frame. Then I go to the property inspector panel in the bottom. This is the property inspector panel, and under the property inspector panel, I find an option called tween. So currently you can see it says tween and then it says none. So let me just select none and let me select motion tween. So whenever you want to simulate movement of any object from one place to another, you select motion tween. Okay, now I've selected motion.
Shape, we should give shape, sir.
Shape, whenever you want to transform something, you can use shape.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me just click enter now. And is everyone able to see what is happening?
Yes, sir. It is going very slow, sir.
Okay.
Going slow.
It is very slow.
Sir, how to control the speed, sir?
So to control the split, so let me explain what has actually happened so far. So when we click on tween, when I clicked on tween from the module, from the control, from this property inspector panel, when I selected this tween, so I selected shape tween, so it doesn't matter. So when I selected the shape tween, what actually happened is Flash basically calculated the difference between the first and last frame. It is seen that the first frame ball is here, and in the last frame the ball is over there. So it is just drawn a straight line from the point A to point B. Then it has spaced the ball equally, and then it has drawn the ball in each one of these frames. All right. So this is what you mean by
What is
tweening.
motion twin, sir?
Motion tween is for when you want to simulate movement. Shape tween is when you want to morph one shape into the other. So you can use them interchangeably. Let's learn about that in detail in the next chapter. For now, understand that tweening is simply automating the process of animation, where we only draw the first and last stages of the animation, and the software will fill in the gaps. So here,
Sir, the automatic animation is called tween, sir.
yes, not exact. That is not the exact definition. So tweening basically means Flash software is going to complete the animation for us. It's going to fill in
Sir,
all the gaps in the animation.
sir, one doubt, sir. Can we do tweening in Flippa clip, sir?
No, you cannot. So tweening is
Okay,
somewhat
sir.
complicated. It takes some CPU resources. That is why it is not available for mobiles. So there is
Okay,
lots
sir.
and lots of things Flash is basically
Sir,
doing in the background in order to achieve
sir,
this tweening. Yes.
sir, if we came to school, we'll work in Flash and computers, no, sir?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Last year,
How to
many of them.
control the speed, sir, in
Okay,
Flippa?
okay. All right. So let me explain how to control the speed. As I told you already, we can use this FPS option to control the speed. So currently we have some 45 frames. You can, if you take a look at this number right here, you can see there are 45 frames. The current speed at which the movie is playing is 12 frames per second. If you want to increase the speed of the movie, just go to modify document properties. Say modify, then say document. So here you can see the frame rate. Just adjust the frame rate to something closer to 30. If you adjust it to something closer to 30, you will see a much better move. So let me play it now. You can actually
Green or
see the ball is much more smooth now.
blue?
Okay, is everyone able to see a much smoother animation?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
It is
sir.
Sir,
Okay.
your screen
So
is
Yes,
not
sir.
visible, sir.
Yes, sir.
if you want to
Sir,
increase
your
the quality
screen is not
even higher,
visible, sir.
what?
Your screen is not visible, sir.
Okay, just click on the name. Click on the name CompLab presentation and pin it.
Sir, I had pinned it, sir. Can I rejoin, sir?
Okay, disconnect and come back. We are almost done. So disconnect and come back. We'll just summarize what we learned today.
Yes, sir.
All right. So is everyone able to see the animation? Is everyone able to see the ball traveling across the screen? So here we have not done anything. So the amount of work we need to do is very minimal when we are doing tweened animation. So let us learn how to do tweened animation. Maybe in upcoming chapters or upcoming lessons. Maybe if they open the school, we can try it in lab also.
Okay, sir.
Just understand this is the difference between step-by-step animation and tweened animation. Step-by-step animation involves creating all the frames manually. There's lots and lots of manual work involved. But tweened animation does not need anything. It just needs a start point and an end point. The software will fill in all the gaps. We can have multiple tweened animations also. So all you need to do is say keyframe and just move your ball to some other place. So this is what we call as a multi-stage animation. So I'm just going to say tween again, then I say shape. Now I have a two-stage animation. Now the ball is going to travel to the left, then it's going to bounce away. Okay. So here you can see there is no weight to this image.
Video, sir.
Okay, without the squash and stretch there is no weight to this image. So whenever you're animating, if you want to create extremely good animations, you have to basically combine this tweening with your step-by-step animation. So wherever detail is required, you stop at those details and you do manual animation, and once your manual animation is done, you go back to tweening. So
Okay, sir.
this is what we've learned today. So if you have any questions, please ask your questions regarding this topics.
No doubt, sir. Clear with everything.
All right, then.
No doubt, sir.
Everything.
No
Okay,
doubt,
then
sir.
everyone.
Very clear, sir. No
No
Ma'am,
doubt,
do you
doubt,
sir.
want to
sir.
add
It's very
anything,
clear,
ma'am?
sir.
No doubt.
Sir.
No doubt, sir. Very clear,
No
sir.
doubt, sir. Very
No
clear,
doubt,
sir.
sir. Very clear, sir.
No doubt, sir.
Ma'am, do you want to add anything, ma'am? Is ma'am on the screen?
No, sir. People
Okay.
say they are very clear with the concept, so that is very good actually.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, then everyone. The time is 11:55. You can post your attendance now, and you can disconnect.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
11:45
Thank
or
you, sir. All
Sorry,
students.
sorry, 11:45.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir. Today's class was very
Thank
interesting,
you,
sir.
sir.
We'll
Bye,
see you.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right,
Bye.
everyone.
Sir.
Thank you. You can.
Sir, I have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, in Flipkart, I cannot do
Bye,
speed,
sir.
Sir, can we leave,
cannot
sir?
control speed, sir.
Sir, can we leave, sir?
Yes. The others you can disconnect. If you have questions, you can just stay back. So he just asked
Okay, sir.
how to control the speed
Sir,
and flip
advance
up.
happy Diwali, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, advance happy Diwali, sir.
Advance happy Diwali, ma'am. Advance happy Diwali,
Advance happy Diwali, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, children.
Let me explain how to control the speed in flipper clip now. So those who are interested, just observe to change the speed in your flipper clip application. Just look at your projects. Once you look at your projects, you can basically see the title of your project followed by the speed in FPS. You can see the speed of this animation is 12 frames per second. So if you want to increase the speed, just change this number alone. All right. So all I need to go is go for project settings, and once in project settings, I can choose the frame rate right here. Okay. So let me set it to something like 20 or 30.
35, sir.
Okay, 30. We cannot go beyond 30. So this is a very, very small application. So if they want to add more features, the size of the application will be huge. So for a very small application, 30 is the best they can do. So just observe. This is how you can increase the speed. Just select your project, click the three dots, go for project settings. It's above your onion settings. Just click on project settings and click on this frames per second and use the slider to set the FPS of your choice. If you have a high FPS, the movie will go very quickly.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, like the flash, we can bring the grid in the flipper clip also, sir.
That is not clear. Can you repeat that once again?
Sir, like the flash, we can bring the grid in the flipper clip also, sir.
Yes, you can have grid also. I can just click these three dots and you can select grid. So the grid is
Okay,
just
sir.
the reference lines. Once you've drawn your image, you can just get rid of the grid. You can see how detailed this drawing is. If you have a stylus, you can draw like this also on your phone. All right, any other questions?
No, sir.
No,
Doubt
sir.
clarified.
All right, then everyone, you can disconnect.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
All right, thank you, everyone. You can disconnect.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir.
All right, thank you.
Happy Deepavali, sir.